Hello, friends. Welcome to the very first lesson. I'm very excited for my very first class. This is very exciting. Thank you for those of you who are here. Thank you for purchasing my class. I hope you guys get so much from this, and I hope y'all enjoy it. So, you guys are here for the sketches, right? Stretch the sketch. So, you guys received or downloaded your copy of Dreaming of Sketches Volume 2. I worked super hard on this one, and I used a new app, an editing kind of app, to where I could create these sketches, and they look different than my first sketchbook. I think that they're a little step up from my first one. If you have not gotten my first one, it's also still great. It's got 50 sketches, so you can still go over to my website and purchase that as well. So for the first lesson, we are going to start with this sketch. I flipped through the book, and this is the one that I wanted to start with. So for this very first lesson, we are going to use this sketch exactly the way that it is. So I get so many questions from people on YouTube and Patreon, people asking me how to use a sketch. There really is no right or wrong way to use a sketch. A lot of the times I will use the sketch for a jumping off inspiration point, or you can use it exactly the way it is. So for the first lesson, we are going to use it the way that it is in here. So as you can see, we have two photos, and then we have a border and white background. The title is down here. Then we have some little embellishing here, and then we have these pieces here. So we're going to start by, like I said, following it exactly the way that it is. And then in the next lesson, we're going to use the same sketch, and we're going to do it in a different way. And I'm going to show you a different way to use it. So let's get started. I'm going to put this off to the side where I can still see it. But pull out your sketchbook and follow along if you'd like. All right. So in the sketch, we have a background, a very small border, and I thought that bringing in this black plaid would work very well. I looked through my stash, and I'm using things from my stash. None of this, I don't think any of this stuff is new, except for the flare. I think using new stuff is always fun, but it's really great to use up your stash to make room for new stuff, right? Because you only have so much room. I started off at the dining room table years ago, and then I had, half of the spare bedroom in our first house. Well, second rented house. And then in our third house, because my husband was in the military, so our third house, I finally got my own craft room. So I'm just trimming the paper down, the cardstock, the white cardstock. And I'm doing a very thin border of this, so I'm not cutting too much off. But I'm cutting all around all four sides of the paper. And then we'll check to see where we're at with that. And I think that that's perfect. In the sketch, I had a very thin border. I like the way that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down. Oh, and I'm doing these pictures. So my child is crazy. So the sketch has two photos. So I'm using two photos. Now, for me, I normally don't print in square, but some people do. The sketch, if you look at it, does have square photos. You absolutely don't have to use the shape of the photo. That's another thing that is a misconception. You can use it however you want or however you have your photos printed. Some people would have 4x6 photos, and that's fine too. If you can make it fit on the page, then it can work for you. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down. This is just the way that I do it because I find it easier to do this than picking up the whole piece of cardstock and losing kind of where I had it. So, because if you put adhesive on the whole back of the cardstock, of the white cardstock, and then try to place it down, especially with the ATG gun, if you place it down and it's not in the right place, it could rip up your paper. So I try my best to not do that. All right, so this is the way we're gonna have it. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim my photos. I also brought in the Nuvo drops in the Autumn Red. And so if you guys did not see my video on my YouTube channel, I did swatches for my Nuvo drops. And so I took this and put it right up against it, and you can see that it's like almost a perfect match. So I really, really am enjoying these swatches. It just makes it a lot easier to pick which color, and then I can just look for that one. Because I feel like sometimes they look different in their actual containers. All right, so now we have our photos. And we can go ahead and start building the page. This photo of my daughter is just crazy. So I know that I want this one coming in from this way because she's looking in this way. It looks very awkward. I know, I'm sorry. She's also, you know, her head is the same way. So technically, if you're a technical scrapper, you would probably want both of the photos looking in this way. However, I'm okay with it like this. So now I'm going to put the mat around the photos. And for that, I believe, let's try out some different ones. So I'm going to pull out, and I pulled a lot of 6x6 papers just because I was not sure which ones I wanted to use. Because I definitely could pull in that blue color with this because it's the same kind of aqua blue, or not. And then also I might, kind of like the blue. So I think we're going to go with the blue. Yeah, we'll go with the blue. So I'm going to go ahead and mat the photos. And since we are following this sketch exactly, I'm only going to use one layer because in the sketch it only has one photo mat. And then since I printed these photos quite small, I have enough room for both photos on one 6x6 piece of paper. Okay, so then we're just going to go ahead and cut those down. Okay. And these videos are going to be in real time just because I feel like I can talk through my process a little bit better and remember exactly what I'm doing. So I hope that y'all are okay with that. These videos, the lessons are going to be a little bit longer than what a YouTube video would be. Okay, so next we have the banners that are coming from the photo. So I kind of was wanting to use the wood with the snowflakes. However, I'm not really sure that I'm really loving it with this blue. So I think that I might do the plaid. I don't think the gingham works. So I think I'm gonna do the plaid. So I need it to be smaller than the length of the photo. I am not a technical person, like, at all. If you follow me, then you know that. So that should work. And then I'm going to cut it in half and use it for both because you only see the little bit of the banner peeking out in the sketch. You do not see the back side of it. You just see the tail part. So the photos are going to butt right up against, right, let me check to make sure. Yep, they're gonna butt up right against the white cardstock. And then we're gonna have the banner, the fishtail banner coming out like so. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut the banner. So for me, I just cut a small slit kind of in the middle and then cut up from the corner to the middle and then cut up from this corner to the middle. So then that makes your banner. I know a lot of people fold it, but I personally don't like to do that because it folds the paper and it leaves a crease, even though you're probably not going to see it underneath this. I just don't personally care for that. So I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. And again, when you're using a sketch and you're using it exactly the way that it looks, your layout kind of goes together pretty smoothly, pretty fast, because there's not really a whole bunch of guesswork, right? You're not really thinking about, okay, how are we going to do this, or where's this going to go? So for me, I'm going to use some foam adhesive behind the photos. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these. Yep, I definitely made that a little bit too wide. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So this is how this is going to be set up. Let's get it where we're going here. Okay. So these photos are quite small. I probably should have printed them a little bit bigger. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on here on the page. I'm gonna bring the sketch back in to show y'all. They have this little kind of like burst, I don't know what you would call it, firework, kind of, it reminds me of a firework. I am going to bring in these little doilies and I'm going to see what we can do with that and see if that looks right. Because they are small, so they might work. And again, this lesson is using the sketch exactly the way that it is. I'm going to cut that doily in half because I'm only using half of it. So I'm okay with that. I think that's cute. And then I'm going to bring this one underneath here. Okay. I like that. I think it looks cute. And then we need the title down here and then some embellishing. I'm going to bring this up just a tad. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down. It's where I like it. I don't want it to move. So yeah. I'm going to bring this out first. And I'm not going to put adhesive all the way to the edge because I know that I'm going to be embellishing there and I might want to tuck something. When you're putting adhesive on doilies, you want to be careful because they can rip quite easily because they are delicate. See? Oh goodness, it's a good thing I have a whole bunch of these. I also think that it's very important for me to keep this in because everybody makes mistakes. Like everybody, y'all, it's okay. Even people that do this as their job, like we still also really make mistakes. Okay. Oh, right there. Really, really like that. And I'm just lining the edge of that pattern paper up with the white cardstock to make sure that it's all the way to the edge. So far, I'm really loving the way that it's looking and it's coming together. So I'm going to clear off my desk a little bit here and move all of the things that I'm done with. I know that I'm done with the pattern paper. So now I have my embellishments. Now, when I do sketches personally, when I create a sketch, I don't do clusters of embellishments for the most part. Just because I want people to kind of use their imagination on what to use. But I have the embellishing here. So that is, I'm going to take that and literally do the embellishing there. However, you don't have to use a flower. Just like right here, I didn't use a starburst or a firework. It's just the element. So you're just using the same elements. Like you're using something there, if that makes sense. It doesn't have to be the exact thing or shape. So if I had a star there or a heart, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to use a star or a heart. So just wanted to make that clear. And also I need a title. So this was for Christmas. We were making cookies for Christmas and she's a mess. So for a title, I do know that I want to use the title down here. And so I only have here Merry Christmas and Ho Ho Ho. So I'm thinking that a really big title will be nice and impactful because the photos are so small. So I'm thinking Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. I think because she looks so crazy, I think that that would be a really super cute. And Home Alone is like a movie that our family absolutely loves. That is from the Home Alone movie. I mean, it's, yeah, that's where I know it from at least. So I have these gray ones that I think will work. So these are like super, super thin and very like, you can move them and kind of shape them how you want them, which is really nice sometimes, but sometimes it's not because they're like super like flexible. And sometimes you just want something to go where you want it. And yeah. So this should be kind of interesting to see how this all comes together. I think that looks good. Now Christmas is going to be quite difficult. I might actually put it straight across, even though I think that's going to be really, really long. Thankfully, these are not like super, super adhesive-y to where they like come like it pulls paper up. Yay! I'm back. Sorry for that. That was a whole thing. Okay, so I like the way that that looks. Merry Christmas. And then we're going to work on You Filthy Animal. So, we will be discussing in the Facebook group about the lessons, and if you're stuck on anything or you have a question about something, I feel like this this class is going to be pretty straightforward. But if anybody has any kinds of questions or you want to share your layouts that you create with the lessons and the sketches, I would love to see what you guys are creating. So make sure that you share over there. I think the Facebook group is going to be a great place to share what you're creating with the class and what you're learning in the class, because, you know, somebody else could be inspired by your layout. I get very quiet when I'm putting stuff down. That is something that I really need to work on, especially with teaching classes. All right. So I kind of want the animal to be a different font, but I'm not quite sure which font I want it to be. And I personally love foam thickers because they stick very well. You really do not need any extra adhesive behind them at all. And you can manipulate them a little bit, but they're not like super flimsy. So you're not going to lose your shape with them like I did with these. All right, I love this. I think it's so cute. Okay, so we have our title. We have our picture clusters, and now we need to work on some embellishing. So for me, you can do either the exact same thing on both, or you can do something different on each, if that makes sense. So I'm going to look through the ephemera pack to see what I have in here first. See what I have left, because this is an older one. So I think the little Christmas trees will work. Let's see how many we have in here. I think that's all we have. We have lots of labels. So we could bring in some of those. A bow, some pine cones. Okay, so I do think that I'm going to bring these down here into the title because I think it's cute. Yeah. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere those. Again, we're using the sketch exactly the way it is, but it doesn't mean that you can't put something with the title that goes along with it. So the title is down here, but we're just adding something, an embellishment, just a little one, nothing too much, nothing too that's going to take away from the title. So really like that. So we're definitely going to use some labels. So we might tuck I don't love the plaid with that one. I think we'll use the red one for this one. The reds are not the exact, like I said, but I'm okay with that. And then I want to pull out the flare. So with these flares, they are printed, I believe, on photo paper. So you want to make sure that you're using a non-liquid adhesive. I'm going to put the I Heart You one up here because she's being crazy. And I am going to put it up on foam or Pop Dots. The Pop Dots that I've been loving at the moment are the Scrapbook.com ones. They come in a really tall package, but I just cut it in half so it's easier to leave on my table. So seeing how this is already up on pop or on foam, I'm going to put the adhesive off to this side because I want it to lay flat on the photo. Probably need to go ahead and glue this down. Okay. Stick that right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing down here, and I'm probably going to use just one of the hearts. I like this one, and I like this one. I also like this one. We'll go with this one. Like so. I love it. I love the way that this looks. So I could continue to keep going and do a whole bunch of things here, but I honestly think that I really, really like the simplicity of it with the big title. I might wish I had another small one. We'll see how this looks. Because I really, really love these, and I want to bring the gray in because of the gray here. But the plaid is a black, gray, and red, so I'm okay. Yeah, I don't love that. It's really cute. I wish I had another small one so I could put it down here, but it's all good. Okay. And then I think the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some Nuvo drops. When you're using Nuvo drops, always make sure that you shake it down so it's all coming down. And then you also want to try it out on a blank piece of paper just to make sure there's no air bubbles in it. So I think I'm going to do a little cluster right here. And then one right here. And I'm going to call this layout done. Now, there is quite a bit of white space. If you have a problem with white space, possibly use bigger photos. And in the next lesson, we're going to go over what to do, use the same sketch differently, how you can use this sketch. We're going to stretch this sketch. You're going to get so much more out of just this one sketch. So I hope you guys are excited. I hope you enjoyed this first video in lesson number 1. Watch out for lesson number 2. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to message me on Facebook. You can also place the questions in the Facebook group. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to spread love and be kind. Hope y'all have an amazing day. Bye.